Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Should be.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:03. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crick.
Here.
Benedetti.
Here.
LaFever.
Here.
Pate. Here. Perugi.
Here.
Rizeppa.
Here.
Stack.
Here.
Quorum present, Mayor Stack.
Thank you very much. First item on the agenda is the the approval of the minutes for November 18th, regular council meeting.
I would so move. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
Can I ask for a roll call vote, please?
Is there a purpose for that?
I was not in attendance with the
Oh, I'm
last
sorry.
meeting.
That's right. You told me that. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti.
Yes.
LaFever.
Yes.
Pate.
Abstain?
Perugi.
Yes.
Rizeppa.
Yes.
Stack.
Yes.
Von Crick.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Stack.
I'm sorry about that, Wendy. You
That's
told me
okay.
that last week. Okay, next, we have these listed separately, the minutes. There's this left from the last time.
Commendations or?
Should be civic commendation, should be.
We've already approved these, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is for civic commendation, and it's for the certificate of civic commendation to Alexander Heron and Zachary Blow.
Motion to make this presentation a part of the regular meeting, Madam Mayor.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. If I could call down Alexander Heron and also Zachary Blow, please. Thank you. These two fine gentlemen here have received their Eagle Award for Boy Scouts, and we are very proud of both of you. You've done a great job. So I'd like to, at first, Alexander, why don't you describe your project for your Eagle Scout?
Certainly. So, 2 summers ago, I was trying to figure out what to do for my Eagle Scout project, and my church that I go to we support a church-planted church, 5.7 community church in Detroit. And so I thought that possibly a backpack drive could help support that community. And they were actually looking for somebody to do a backpack drive that year. So it worked out perfectly. And through my church and my troop, we were able to collect over 170 backpacks. And that, with other various donated backpacks that year ended up being over 200 backpacks. They were all given out at a back-to-school backpack drive event that they hosted that summer, and I'd say it was very successful. The next summer, despite it not being for an Eagle Scout project, I decided I wanted to do that again, and which was this past summer, and I collected 180 backpacks, I believe, and they had another 150 that they had collected from various other sources, and we had over 300 backpacks. So,
That's great.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So hello, I'm Zachary, and my Eagle project was a firewood shed holder. Now, what brought me to thinking about making this project was the Boy Scout troop always camps at Michigan Memorial Cemetery. There's a little camping ground in the back, and that was the first ever camp out that I've ever been to with the Boy Scouts. And I'm thinking, I want to try to give back to the first place that I ever camped with the Scouts and ended where I started with this project. So, one of the biggest struggles there was firewood, or a place to hold it, because the holder that was there for the firewood was really old, and the dirt was making the wood too wet for us to burn. So I created a lean-to style shed holder, which means like the roof is slanted just a little bit, so that way the rain falls off of it. And the Scouts have used it a few times already this year. Same with many other campers that went to Michigan Memorial to camp out, and it's been a really good success.
Right. Very good. I was able to go to both of their honors luncheon and dinner, and I just want to thank them both for inviting me. It was a great event. So first of all, I'd like to give, because I went to Alexander's first, here's your certificate. It's a certificate from to state that we are very proud of you and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And here's yours.
Thank you.
And the council would love to shake your hand. Start right over there.
Thanks for everything. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah, really great. Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Great job. Thank you.
Congratulations, good job. Congratulations, good job.
Well, before they leave, I'd like to, because behind every good scout is a good parent. I'd like to have first Alexander introduce your parents to us, okay?
These are my parents, Chris and Karen.
Very good. Zachary?
So my parents, right next to them, Andrea and Joe.
Very good.
Hey.
Jackie, to get where you got, both of them have gotten, so thank you again. And we appreciate that you came down. Thank you. I'll give you a shake too. All righty. Okay. Those are always good things to do. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is letter of resignation from Wendy Pate from the City Beautiful Commission.
Move to receive the letter and place on file and send a letter of appreciation to Wendy for her service.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. You would like a roll call too? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Abstain.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezeppa,
Yes.
Stack,
Yes.
Von Crooks. Yes. Benedetti.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Stack.
And just to let you know that Wendy did a fabulous job with the City Beautiful, so thank you again. And we had the group down that you can probably explain it to them. I'm not really sure what the letters are for.
I'm not sure I can remember anymore either. It's the Southeast Michigan Beautification Commission Council meeting. They had a quarterly meeting, and they were in dire need of a city to step up and host that meeting. So in about a month's time, maybe a month and a half's time, and Mayor was on board for us to do this. It was a chance for us to promote Trenton and the Trail Town Initiative. So we had Joanne Gagne present, Anita Twardesky of the Downriver Linked Greenways, and also our Trenton, Michigan gardeners, who had recently won an award and talked to us about I think they just did a presentation at the last meeting as well. So we had communities from as far as St. Clair Shores down to Flat Rock.
Very
So it was
good.
a great event. And it was the first event held at the Tourist Lodge at Elizabeth Park.
It was very nice. It turned out really nice.
And thanks for your help on
appreciate
that.
I appreciate all the help that you gave the commission too, so it was a great thing. Everybody helped, so. The next item on our agenda is 33rd District Court 2020 Court Budget. Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. It will be
Bill.
Councilman
Just call me
LaFever,
Bill.
yes.
Just call me Bill.
I'm always saying Mayor Pro Tem, but now I have to change the direction.
Can I make a motion to receive and place on file and approve the 2020 court budget as presented?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is from the Trenton High School Rotary Interact Club, the annual Jingle Drive. And I do have the representative here, Mr. Jacks, if you'd like to give us an info on that.
Make a motion first.
Good evening. Good evening. There we go. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Bruce Jocks, and I'm the Trenton, the Rotary Advisor for the Trenton Rotary Interact Club. I come before you tonight to request the use of the parking lot located next door to Martinson's parking lot, the overflow lot that's down in Elizabeth Park. And our requested
McLeod
use,
Park?
or I'm sorry, McLeod Park, yep. And our requested use is on Saturday, December 7th, 2019, from noon until midnight. And what we would like to do is the Trenton Rotary Interact Club is a group of high school students that are civic minded and are interested in learning how to serve the community. And this is one of our projects that we've been doing for this is our 19th year, which we call it the Jingle Drive. And our goal is to sit out in the parking lot and collect used clothing, preferably no household items and furniture. We don't have room for that. Used clothing for St. Vincent de Paul, new toys for Tots, non-perishable food items for the Trenton, the St. Philip's Trenton Food Pantry, and also any monetary donations we would forward to ChristNet, which is a local consortium of local churches that provide a warming shelter for the homeless.
I would so move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Director of Police and Fire, formal approval of the temporary traffic control study. Director Voss?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. What we have before you is actually three temporary traffic control studies that were conducted over the last year, maybe year and a half. We're looking for formal approval. Number one would be on the no left turn from the Trenton High School parking lot onto West Road from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on school days. The reason for that temporary study, that temporary sign, was we had two students struck by vehicles, by cars leaving the parking lot, turning left onto West Road from the high school parking lot. So we made a determination to make things safer that we will no longer allow the left turn out of that lot. Haven't had any incidents since that, so we're looking for formal approval on that. I don't know if we want to do a vote on each one separately, or do you want to wait till the end?
Oh, yeah, we can wait till the end and see if there's anybody that would like to separate them, I guess.
Okay, and then the stop sign placement on Cleveland Street at Buffalo Street for just southbound Cleveland traffic. That was creating a problem because we had a corner there where there was no stop on either side. So we studied that, and we believe that's the right way to go with the stop sign. And the third one is on a new business in downtown Trenton. We did a 90-day study on this. It was done at the request of the business, worrying about whether or not they were going to have enough parking at Dr. Lovey's office. So what we did was we did St. Joseph Street, both north side and south side, between 3rd Street and West Jefferson. We made that two-hour parking for all the public parking on the side of the road there. We studied it. We watched the vehicle usage over different hours, different days during the weekdays, and have determined that we wanted to adjust that and just do 2-hour parking from the alley to West Jefferson on the north side of St. Joseph. We feel that there's adequate parking for everybody if we do that.
Motion to approve.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Councilman Parigi?
Yes, Director Voss, now that you can't make a left out of the high school, what is the impact of traffic going straight ahead and or right? I mean, have you looked at that, or is it just part of the study?
Yeah, we haven't had any complaints on that. As far as I know, nobody's complained of more traffic going on the bridge. What we think it's done really is it's changed behavior of how they use the lot or leave the lot. They can still turn left out of the other exit, which is not near a crosswalk. So far less dangerous. So we don't have students that are crossing the road at that where they come out on the, it would be the easternmost exit.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Pate?
Yeah, and just to clarify, we had spoken on the phone about this, but any residents can park in this
Absolutely.
2-hour parking.
It's
It's not
public
just
parking.
for that doctor's office.
Correct. It's public
Okay,
parking.
and then the City Beautiful Commission had concerns about the, I don't think it's a barricade, but I don't know what the other.
Those are down now.
Oh, right, those are down. So the signage, can we encourage him to have that signage say something about during business hours so that people are able to park there at night for the restaurants and so forth?
We will encourage him to do that.
He used to put that on
There's-
his building, right?
Yeah.
Those signs?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Next item on the agenda is from our city administrator, the EOS Aero Gold purchase.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you indicated, this is a request to purchase an EOS Aero Gold item. This is a request from the engineering department. I'm filling in the absence of the city engineer tonight. The request would be to waive the competitive quote process and approve the purchase of the Aero Gold GPS receiver. There's a sole source item and compatibility issue, along with the GIS training and the database. The expense is reimbursable at 75% and funded through the SAW grant budget account listed, and your request is...
So moved.
Support.
Thank you.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the next items on the agenda are disbursements and statements, reports, and I'm going to defer to our Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Rezeppa, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd move to approve the authorized disbursements dated November 18th, 2019, in the amount of $553,879.97.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
Didn't ruin the first one, all right. We'll move to approve the authorized ACH transactions from October 2019 in the amount of $3,047,323.03.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
And then I would finally move to approve the financial summary and schedule of investments and cash on hand both dated October 31st, 2019. City Beautiful Commission minutes from September 5th, 2019. Civic Commission and Historical Commission minutes each dated October 7th, 2019. Traffic Safety Commission minutes from October 2nd, 2019. Fire Department monthly report and Police Department monthly reports each from October 2019.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Okay, so next we go, I didn't miss anything, Madam Clerk, did I?
Nope, that's
Okay.
it.
So the next thing that we'll go to, I just have to find out who was my last person.
City Attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our city attorney would like to say a few words. Thank you.
As many of you probably have learned in the last several days, after 35 years of serving this council, I announced my intention to retire and submitted my resignation, take effect whenever the transition can take place to whoever the council selects as its next representative. It's been wonderful 35 years here. I came here in, 85 or so when George Manns was first elected mayor of the city, and I've had the distinct honor and privilege of serving 5 mayors during that time. It's wonderful to see local government in action. This was really my area of interest since I was in college. I started working in 1970 for the then United States Senator from Michigan, Philip A. Hart, and served on his staff doing investigations for the Antitrust Committee. Subsequent to that, I came back to the state and went to work for the newly elected Senate Majority Leader, Bill Fitzgerald, who you may recognize because he ran for governor a couple of times in 78. And it was through Senator Fitzgerald and George Manns, who were really friends from high school in the sense that they were both high school basketball coaches and had teams playing against each other, during that period, and really that's how the introductions developed that led to our appointment as city attorney back in 1985. It's been a great run. I am deeply indebted to members of this council and administration and the ones that preceded them for having confidence in me to represent the city, both here in civic proceedings and in the district court, 33rd District Court over in Woodhaven. It's been a great run. It's for young people, as I was when I started in this job. I am now over 70. It is time for me to step aside from this, as much as I enjoy it, and I've kept my hands in it. But probably despite my wife's wishes that I stay away from the house and our late night Monday meetings and so forth, I'm going to be back home and probably involved in some community activities in the city of Troy. But I cannot thank this city and the members of the city council and administration for giving me this opportunity. I've made many friendships as a result of that, and it's been very satisfying for me and both myself, my wife, my family, and our new puppy all appreciate your confidence in me during these years. Thank you for so much for letting me serve. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So my first council person tonight is Councilman LaFever.
Really? Just want to congratulate the winners in the election and remind the people that are out here that the people who didn't win worked just as hard and had their heart set on it. So Dora did a good job, and Ryan and Tom did a good job, and my condolences to them, but the council, they picked us, but we've got a good group here, looking forward to it, and Kyle, you did a great job, looking forward to be there with you.
Oh, thank you.
But the main deal, Wally, I'm going to miss you.
I'll miss you, Bill.
You know?
You're my right-hand man.
I sat here because of Wally. It was good. All the things we've been through, good and bad, you know what I'm saying? Always there to bail me out of my family or something in the city. He's been a great attorney, a great golfer. He's had more hole-in-ones than what, Karen? How many hole-in-ones have you had? 5? 5 hole-in-ones, pretty good deal for you.
That's when I was young.
Yeah, I was younger. Yeah, we were all younger then, but it was good. And you've done a great job in the city. Everybody up here loves you. Does that mean we're not buying him a Christmas gift this year?
Oh, no, you still have to.
We're still going to get him one this
Absolutely.
year? Okay, we'll get you one, Wally.
You're going to get yours. I don't know why.
I know, I haven't heard about that. Thank you, Wally. Thank you, miss you.
Thank you.
Councilman Peruggi?
Yes, good evening. I'd just like to say very good work by the DPW on the snow, the unexpected snow, as well as the leaf pickup. They've been really working hard. I can see that. I mean, one street, one day is not clean, next thing, boom, it's clean, so they're working hard, and I appreciate that. I also like to thank a former mayor for challenging me and inspiring me to run, and I also would like to thank those who voted for me and instilled their trust in me, and I hope to live up to that trust.
Very good. Thank you. Councilwoman Pate?
Hello. I do have several things to bring up because I'm doing a little catching up from things that I've been working on and things that have been happening in the city. So in our last City Beautiful meeting, just wanted to let everybody know that there is a free wreath raffle. I didn't get a chance to see if they've put it up yet, but anytime you visit City Hall, there'll be slips for you to fill out, and hopefully you enter that contest and can beautify your door for the holidays. We also have a Trail Town logo contest that was advertised to children in the schools, age kindergarten through senior year, and we're hoping that we get entries in by December 13th. There's information on the website about Trailtown. If you go to the Parks and Rec site and then you select special events, there is a description of what Trailtown is and how you can get involved in trying to design our logo. And we need a logo to be able to produce all of the paperwork for promoting the trails in Trenton. We also completed a Trailtown Complete Streets Ordinance webinar. And so hopefully council will be hearing a little bit more about what complete streets are. But basically its intent is to make transportation better for all people involved in all forms of transportation, whether you're a pedestrian, a bike rider, or even for traffic flow. But it also continues out into the public walkways. So it's also beneficial to develop a community that is more inviting and creating an atmosphere and a sense of community and opening up the streets to be able to be more walkable. Let's see. The benefits that it was kind of very interesting is that the price of your home actually goes up the closer that home is to being able to access the trail. So I thought that was a good incentive as well. Joanne also presented that Complete Streets concept to our DDA. Interestingly enough, the very next day, we also had an opportunity to network with people in the region. So I wanted to thank John and Pam Fiorelli, who have a business in Flat Rock, who hosted this meeting and invited all the members from our area to kind of share the stories of what each city is working on. And that is the trail system here. We're involved in implementing that master plan for our city. His goal, and which I think is pretty exciting, is that he would like us to continue to have these meetings so that the cities can continue to share the good things that are happening and find ways to connect and breed off of good ideas and see what other people are doing that is working, and of course perhaps things that are not working for the cities. Let's see. I also went to the CAG meeting, and I know a couple people in the audience here also went, and also Councilman Benedetti, so you might have some input on that as well. Basically, what I saw was about 20% of city officials attended, about 20% of the meeting was EPA officials, about 20% of the meeting were Groseal residents. There was one resident from Riverview, and then the rest, the balance were from the city of Trenton, residents from the city of Trenton. I would just like to encourage people to attend those meetings that the EPA is organizing. They're organizing it for us, for community members, and basically what the CAG is going to be is it's like a go-between between the EPA and the community, so that the community can better understand what's happening and what's involved in the cleanup. And it's a vehicle for people to also voice their concerns and the things that they're worried about as far as how the cleanup goes. And we've already been involved in that a little bit when we were asked to submit comments on the dust plans and the work plans and the traffic flow plans and so forth that they've already gone through in phase 1. What's I found interesting was that they kept saying that, well, the community is going to decide what this CAG is going to look like. They want a very diverse group of people, so they want old people, young people, they want people who are on committees, they want people who are in civic groups. They really want to make this a cross-section of the community. But the hard part is, for me, understanding who steps up and takes that lead. And, they're there to facilitate, but it's still going to need to come from the community. And how we organize, I guess we're going to have to continue to look for direction from the EPA. They do have a timeline for us, so in December they are going to put together a draft of the ideas that were collected at the meeting. In January they hope to have another public meeting that we hope you would attend. And then hopefully by March they will actually convene the first official CAG meeting. CAG stands for Community Action Group, by the way. I would also like to thank supporters and people who worked on my campaign and my family. And I'd also like to thank everybody at the table and all the department heads who have already reached out to me and have been so extremely helpful to get started in this process. And I'm excited to move the city forward. And with that, I also reached out to several members of council to propose an idea to move a portion of the public comment to the beginning of the meeting. There are 10 of 11 communities that I could research in the Downriver area that do have their public comments at the beginning of the meeting. There are 4 of those 10 who have dual public comments. For example, they would have a public comment on the agenda items in the beginning of the meeting. What I'm looking at is that it pretty much would go somewhere after presentations and petitions, appointments perhaps. That's generally the area that most cities located that public comment. Some of them are timed, some of them are not. So I would like to ask for support, at least perhaps in a study session or a motion tonight to, or just some discussion about what we might like to try.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? The one thing I will let you know is, and I think that you saw that, I talked about doing it at the beginning, but I realized that I try to do that if you're on the agenda, like say for instance we had I'm looking at it here. One of these I ended up actually asking if anybody had any comments or whatever. I can do it during the meeting so that it's with that, that item. Because when you do the beginning and the end, then you're going to get people that want to say another comment, maybe about, because how do you limit it? Do you see where I'm going with it? How do you limit them that they don't have an item on the agenda, but they want to talk at the end, but then they might want to say something at the beginning if they're not, type thing. So I don't know. Councilwoman Von Crooks?
I think you should use your discretion in this. I think I've been here a long time, and if any item is on the agenda, Wendy, we have always allowed people to speak if they have public comment on that item on the agenda. That's just been my understanding the whole time I've been here. Now, if they're not on the agenda, then they wait till the end of the meeting for their public comment, because they may bring up something that's, like the Boy Scouts, like Howard does, or something after the meeting. Then we always accept their comment up to 5 minutes. But if they have something to say under each agenda item, I would never be opposed to them speaking as a resident or a non-resident, doesn't matter really. But, I'd have them bring it up under each agenda item if they have something to say. That's always been my understanding, the way it worked. I don't know, Bill, if you...
Yeah, I thought about it after I got
that?
done talking to you, and I thought we usually bring
We've
the
always
people up
done
if there's, because usually somebody will say that they want to say something.
They're down here to address the issue.
Now, I know that when you came
they do.
before this, Wendy, I know that you weren't really on the agenda. I don't know if there was items that we talked about that.
You'd wait till the end, but we don't usually make people, if they want to stand up and speak on that issue. Every mayor that I've ever worked under has always allowed the residents to speak. So
I'm willing to do that, so if you're, if that's okay for you, and then we'll just do the comments at the end.
What I assumed, because it's in, it's being on the other side of the aisle, I always thought that I was supposed to wait till the end. I never knew unless you knew I was here for a reason, and I just think it's a way that it would open up communication with the residents, that they don't feel like they have to ask for permission to speak, or we may not know who's in the audience and what they want to speak on. So to make it a little more official, perhaps to add it as an agenda item so that people understand that they are allowed to comment ahead of time, because I was not aware of that.
Sure.
I think Stephen has one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. No, I was going to say, I totally support this. I think it's a good idea. I know a lot of other communities do it. And, well, some people might know that, yes, if you ask ahead of time, you can get put up there. I think that this sort of formalizes it. And I guess my only stipulation was, any earlier public comment, I'd like it to be required to be as related to an agenda item and limited to 5 minutes, just like the end public comment would be, where that can kind of be the catch-all for anything that wasn't on the agenda. So I'm in support of this.
Yeah, I'm in support of that. I believe most cities have a 3-minute time limit in the beginning. I'm
looking at the best place to probably position that would be probably after presentations and proclamations. Would you,
I'd like a referral
Yes.
to administration, we can come back with a recommendation.
you want to go ahead and we'll refer to administration, we can talk about it and
Sure,
we
that'd
can
be
even
fine.
include you or whatever, and we can go from there.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm all done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, Council, or Mayor Pro Tem Rezapa, please.
Thank you. I apologize in advance. My list got longer and longer as I was jotting things down here. So I guess the one thing I wanted to thank you, Wally, for your service to the city. I don't mean to out you on anything, but right, you've given half your life to our community, and that's something that's that is super rare, and just shows your commitment to us. And I think it goes without saying that we appreciate that. It was really a pleasure to work with you in my 6 years here. You were obviously very smart, trustworthy, honest, and very well respected, and we'll certainly miss you here. So wish you all the best, and I had no idea you were such an avid golfer, so let me know if you ever want to play around after you're all done. But it sounds like you might have to give me a couple weeks heads up so I can hit the range for a little bit, but say congratulations, and I hope you enjoy your retirement, Wally.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I know Bob's not here anymore, but wanted to thank Councilperson Howie for his service. While, there were certainly times that we disagreed on some issues, he was definitely very thoughtful, very honest, and always very well-read on the things that we discussed. So need to thank him and his family for the last 8 years. Definitely been able to enjoy working with him, and certainly will look forward to seeing him around here too, and keep him involved. Wanted to welcome you as well, Wendy. It's really great to have you here. You've definitely been active, involved in the community in so many ways over the last few years, that it's good to have you here, and we're looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to working with you over my next 2 years here. Bill Nelson and Kyle, welcome back. You guys must not have screwed anything up too bad, so thank you very much. I need to lighten this up here, come on, right? And then right to Dora, Ryan, and Tom, all of their being unsuccessful. That's certainly, running for office is never an easy task, so want to wish them all the best and hope that they continue to stay involved in a variety of facets too. So I guess, and then want to thank the residents here, being Mayor Pro Tem now, and being here for 6 years. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. But I was joking about how when I started, I was 21 years old, and before I got here, 4 of the 6 people on our council were elected before I was born.
Thanks.
But I didn't say any names, Timber, don't worry. But in all seriousness, though, now I look around and I have the 3rd most seniority on council, which is just wild. So it's truly an honor. Had someone tell me years ago at a conference that there's no greater honor than serving your hometown, and that's certainly true. So over the next 2 years, we'll definitely have our challenges, but with all those challenges come a lot of opportunity. So looking forward to doing the things that make Trenton a great place to live longer than we're all here. So with that, I guess, Scott, I would actually ask for an update on the hospital, too.
Well, all right.
So this is a seamless transition, right?
Seamless.
So last indicated, the circuit court judge had ordered control of the property into the hands of a court-appointed receiver. Granted great scope of authority to the receiver. That decision has been appealed by Dr. Nasir and the owner of Riverside Hospital. So while I would love to give my opinion and editorialize, our Labor Council advises me not to speak publicly. So, but it is under appeal. We're hoping that we have some expeditious remedy to that, and we have some resolution and keep moving forward.
Great, thank you very much. And do we have, I guess, I don't know what the timeline was on that. Do we have any dates set for future litigation or anything?
Not that I've been advised. We just received notice that it had been appealed over the weekend.
Okay.
And we're preparing our response to that. As I understand it, there's no guarantee that the Court of Appeals will hear the appeal, but they have filed. We are going to file our response and hope we keep moving forward. But I have not been advised of any timeline.
Great. Well, relatively speaking, certainly, but yeah. That's all that I have, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Von Crooks,
I think Bill had a question on that.
do you have a question? Go ahead.
Is the building secure? That's for anybody to answer.
If you're talking to them, yes.
Yes,
They're not even here. I was talking to somebody up here. I mean, I'm concerned.
there is court-ordered security that I believe runs from 8 PM to 5 AM, that the owner of the property is responsible for having security on site. Part of the order is, from the circuit court judge, is that the site must be secure. So factually, whether it is or not, but that is part of the court order.
Wally, what was the answer? Is secured or supposed to be?
Well, I mean, that's really a factual question that you can determine by going over there and looking at it. But he's been ordered, if he's failed to secure it, and there's evidence of that, obviously your counsel on the matter is going to report it to the circuit court, and he can be assessed fines for failure to obey the court order. But it's going to, be a factual determination on what evidence is there that it's not secured or not secured enough, and you're able to go back to court and show a judge that he's in denial of the order, in violation of it. He could be fined, and there could be other remedies to it. For instance, there is a receiver, correct, Scott?
That is correct.
So the receiver has some responsibility for enforcement of the
The
provisions.
receiver, part of the receiver's order is he has instructed the owner of the property continue to provide on-site security. I would love to answer your question. The fact that is a legal point of contention, I really can't, as much as I would love to respond.
I mean, I've heard some rumors that the place is really, 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 really unsafe there. And if any of those rumors are true, that would be a shame if somebody got in there.
That has been central to what we have been arguing in the court for far too long. I wouldn't argue with a single thing you said.
Councilman Pate?
Bill, I can tell you that the secure vehicle, they're actually driving around the property. I know in the past that there's been a car just parked there with somebody sleeping in it, or perhaps not, just maybe parked there. But I have seen a car that has done laps around. They have lights that they shine on the hospital, and I believe the lights are awfully bright right now, but at least you can see, on the floor of the property, people coming and
It's not
going.
Larry, is it, out there?
No, I don't believe that's Larry's vehicle.
Thank you, Wendy.
Anything else? Councilwoman Von Crooks?
Yeah, just probably ditto to a lot of stuff that everybody's already said. And Wally, you've always been a dear friend, and I was surprised to get this letter tonight, but I can't just express to you how much respect that I have for you. When I got on the council, I thought you were the greatest, and you've always taken care of Trenton. And I admire you, and all the work that you've done here has been incredible. On every issue, you've always been in the forefront, and I know I'm going to miss you a lot. And, of course, I wish you a lot of fun at the same time. And I always worried about you driving home every night in a snowstorm from here. You never wavered. You always came in no matter what. And I always said, Wally, be careful going home. But, I'm sure going to miss you, and I hope you stay in touch with all of us. And thank you for all your years of service.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you couldn't have had any better. The next item I want to talk about is the Trenton Education Foundation had our signature event over the weekend. It was Friday night at Crystal Gardens. It was an amazing event. I think we set a record of what we took in. Thanks to Mike McCullough and everybody, and Kyle and everybody who worked on this event. Kelly Howie and Linda Kell did a great job chairing it. As Paul Haley, you helped us out a lot, and it takes a lot, like I told Kyle, it takes teamwork to make the dream work. And we raised over $55,000 in one evening. And all this money that we raise, a lot of it, goes to scholarships and to different things that the kids wouldn't have at the high school and the teachers wouldn't have, that the schools just don't provide or can't provide. And we work hard to raise that money just to make Trenton education better. So I want to thank everybody who worked on it, and hopefully next year we're going to do it again. It'll be our 10th annual event, and I hope everybody comes. The place was packed. We had a great time, a lot of great raffles, a lot of good fun. So I just want to thank everybody who came out or who worked on it or who sponsored us. I mean, people sponsored and sent money without even coming, so they believe in the schools and what Trenton's doing. So I just want to thank everybody and welcome Wendy, like I said, welcome back Nelson and Bill, Kyle, everybody, and to the people who didn't win. I know how hard it is to run for election. It's not easy, it's costly, and you put your life, your family, and everything you do on the line. And I appreciate people running, and, good luck to the winners, and hope everything works out, and it'll be great. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Benedetti?
Sure. Let's see. First, I'll start with Wally. Wally, it's been a pleasure for the 2 years I've worked with you here. I have dealt with you before I got here, and I appreciate your support and stuff you've helped us with when I worked in the fire department and when we would talk on other issues. It's been fun, and like I said, you've done a great job for us representing us. I think the police department could probably hold you in high regards of anybody else. So I appreciate that, and enjoy your retirement, okay? The next thing is, when Wendy, you talked about the GAG, it's Community Advisory, not Action, Advisory Committee, and she's right, we need to get people involved. The EPA talked about it, is the other ones they've set up around the state, and I don't have that notebook, they talked about it, but you can go and you can actually look and see what they've done with Dow Chemical and things like that. So it's to help us explain to the EPA what we would like to see done, and them the go-between to get to who's ever cleaning it up with them or the business owner on what the community would like to have done with cleaning it up. They talked about doctors being on it and lawyers and all these things, because there are going to be things that the EPA talks about and tells us that they found there that a guy like me and a person like Wendy or anybody else that sits in this council is not going to understand what the problems are with it. But there's people that can explain them to us, and that's what the EPA is going to help us do. So we need people involved in that. They're right, it is something, but it's a way for us to build maybe a working relationship with the people that own the property. So I think it's a step in the right direction. We can sit here and say, oh, we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want this, but we need to get involved, and we need to work with them. The other thing I have is the DPW. I know people's talked about it. The DPW, thanks for getting the snow out, and I noticed, I know Mr. Hogan's not here, or Mr. Wilson or anybody, but at least they didn't do curb to curb this time. So all those leaves didn't end up back in people's yards, so they could, because there are some big piles, and they're getting them cleaned up. And I really appreciate that. They did a great job. They took everything into consideration on how to do it, and I know it had to make them harder to clear the street, Scott. So tell them thank you very much for all that. Next question is, and I don't know if this is to Scott or Kyle or whatever, do we know what's going on the corner of West and West Jefferson? I noticed there's equipment back out there. So what are we doing with that? Is he building, or are we still cleaning up?
This is environmental cleanup. This is a grant that was awarded. It was a brownfield grant for further cleanup from the underground storage tanks.
Okay.
And the goal is to have enough remediation so there's not a vapor mitigation system required. So they're digging, and hopefully within this grant they'll be able to fully address so that it is ready to build on after that.
Okay. Are they doing it like during the next month or so? Is it going to be like
I
believe like the Christmas parade, or are they trying to hold off? Or?
I believe the
After they fix
anticipated
the bridge, they're going to do it.
They were digging
Yes,
today.
Started today?
yes.
Okay.
The project completion date, I believe, is within a month. They are hoping, but we were talking about just logistically. I don't know that is going to be where a Christmas tree or gathering site, because just this time of year, it's not like that site is going to be, I guess, pedestrian friendly, regardless of if the work is complete or not.
Okay. And then lastly, I know Stephen probably wanted to talk about this, but I'll pull a bill and blame him for it. So are we any closer to getting anywhere between, it was the medical marijuana ordinance. We had sent it to, I believe it was zoning, right, or planning, and where are we at with that? Have they met? Have they discussed stuff? Have they said anything back? Are they investigating it? What are we doing with that?
To respond to that
Yeah,
as
go
well.
ahead.
The referral to Planning Commission took place from the time it was referred to Planning Commission until the time Planning Commission met on that. It was removed from consideration by the council, so then Planning had a question of what are they contemplating? Because they did have a first reading that they were going to take up. Then when it was taken off the table by the council and we're I guess hitting that reset or starting afresh, they want to focus on what the planning part of it is. So whether that's a limit of the number or a geographical region, they are looking for guidance from this body. I have not heard anything, I don't know if Wally has, from the courts or any legal decisions that have been made about medical versus recreational, a community opting in on one and opting out on the other. How the courts have ruled if the selection process is a public process or a private process. Any of the questions that I had administratively, I have not heard that the courts or the regulatory agencies have ruled on yet. So from my standpoint, that's still what's holding it up for me having a comfort level moving forward either way, is that I would rather those legal determinations be paid for on other communities' dimes.
And yeah, rightfully so. So and that helps because now we know and the people know where we stand on it. So it's basically in a holding pattern.
Yes.
Till the state decides to give guidance and rule on certain things that people have asked them to do.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my opinion anyway, so.
Okay. That'll be it. Thanks,
Okay.
Mayor.
Okay, I've got quite a few things here. First of all, Wally, thank you again for all you've done. I know the first time I called you, you had a little blank pause, and I says, well, think about it if you want to. And he said, you'd be the sixth mayor I've worked for, so I appreciate all that you've done for us and, the city of Trenton. And I'm going to have a get-together after the 16th of December for people to stop by and see Wally after the council meeting. So just wanted to let everybody know that. So thank you. You've done a great job.
You're welcome. I'll be back here Thursday to finish up my court responsibilities.
There you go. There you go. The Goodfellow Drive is this weekend, Saturday, November 23rd. If anybody's interested in helping out, going door to door, we do have a lot of the junior high kids and the high school kids that help us out with this. It will be from starting at probably 8:30. You can come over to the high school, and they'll send you out on a route to help with our drive. That'll be our newspaper drive, so if anybody's interested. Congrats to the three of you for winning, and I look forward to working with all three of you. And Wendy's got lots to get to know, for sure, but I'm sure she'll take it all in, so it's good. Parade December 7th at 6 o'clock. I might have taken the wind out of Tim's sails there. Also, the Trenton Civic Commission, you have to understand, my mouth is so dry I can't stand it. The Trenton City Awards Banquet is coming up on Saturday, January 18th. They are now looking for candidates, and they have the nomination forms available for anybody that you might be interested in nominating. There's Trenton of the Year, Good Neighbor of the Year, Senior Citizen of the Year, Outstanding Woman, Outstanding Man, Outstanding Trenton Youth, and also Charlie Brown Award. So you can get these at online at, I'm looking for it here. Tim can tell me. I don't see it on the form about our website. It's on the regular city website. Oh, city website, okay. So it's www.trenton. TrentonMI.org, okay? Or you can stop by and the Recreation Department will have these. Also, as we well know, we've had an issue with the Groseal Bridge, so I know the people in North Trenton, one of the ladies had written to me about their problem down there. I have contacted the county to see if they can try to keep because it's the only way out for the North Trenton end is to go out on Sibley Road. So I've asked Wayne County to possibly put some temporary signs so that between the road It's the problem that between their road, trying to get out onto the road is having a problem because of all the traffic that's gathering for the bridge. So they're going to be putting some temporary signs in there. So I wanted to let you know about that. Also, I just got this morning from Jerry Perry from Riverview, but they are going to be honored with having the wall that heals in 2020, and that will be on exactly Memorial Day weekend, and it'll be the traveling wall. So we'll be looking to help them out to get some volunteers. So if anybody's interested in volunteering at this event, it'll be Memorial Day weekend. The other thing is I'm looking for people that would like to give $10 towards Meals on Wheels for seniors at the holiday. And I'm a board member on the Senior Alliance, and they provide holiday meals to isolated seniors during Thanksgiving and Christmas. So if anybody is interested, it's $10 to help feed a senior. So I've got those tickets here. Other than that, I think that's it for me. I think I was wordy enough. So, Madam Clerk, do you have anything this evening?
I would just like to mention that City Hall will be closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday and Friday, November 28th and 29th, and the next regular council meeting is Monday, December 2nd.
Very good.
Mayor,
You already had your turn.
no, this is,
Okay,
I'm using Wally's 3 minutes.
okay.
I just want, in all the excitement, I forgot to compliment Debbie. Did a phenomenal election, went very smooth, handled very well. She treated the workers very nice, and the people who hung out treated them nice too. But Debbie did a great job, no problems, and you did very well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Thank you,
Very
Carol.
good, thank you. Our assessor, Mr. Dalkos, you have anything this evening?
Madam Mayor, I have nothing for you tonight. Thank you so much.
Our city treasurer, Mr. McCullough?
Just a few quick items. You know, Wally was in the mid-'80s when I was first served on council, and you were wise back then. You continued to give good advice over the years, and I can't imagine 34 years of corporate knowledge of the things that have gone on in this city. It's going to be missed. So anyways, thank you for all of that.
Thank you.
I just want to remind council, I've talked to a few of you about the Fire and Police Pension Board meeting, which will be 10:30 Wednesday. We have our actuarials coming in and talking about several items from Gabriel Roeder and Smith. So I invite you, if you can make it, it's at 10:30. It shouldn't be that long. It'll seem that long, but it won't be that long. Did want to thank folks, as I've talked about before, and Timber, you mentioned it, the signature event was fabulous. And while we rate and we sort of compare how we did by the amount of money we raised, I'd like to remind folks that it's not about the money, it is about what the money can do to enhance the educational opportunities for the kids and the teachers. And so I want to thank you all. And finally, if you would, those sponsors, they're the ones that raised the bulk of that money. If you know of somebody that sponsored, please let them know your appreciation. It's so important to have civic and corporate members step up and help out. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now it comes time for the department heads. Anybody from the departments have anything they'd like to report to the public? If not, I'm going to go to the public. If you'd like to step towards the podium there where the microphone is, please state your name and address for the record, and we'll be happy to help you. Howard, are you going up?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Howard Hammis. I reside at 2921 Maxwell here in Trenton. And Mayor Stack, as you remember, I was here back on November 4th for your first November council meeting, and I reported to you and the council that the Boy Scouts of Trenton, which you see here tonight, were presented here and were represented here tonight. It was over the weekend of November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We went out door to door. We tried to cover as many homes in Trenton as we could with these Scouting for Food collection bags. The residents who received a bag, there was instructions on the bag what to do with the bag. We asked the residents to fill the bag with non-perishable food and have it out on their front doorstep by 9 a.m. on the morning of November 9th. I'm very happy to report to you, Mayor, this evening that the project was started and successfully completed. I'm very happy to report to you that these outstanding scouts here in Trenton that were here tonight and are still here tonight, and their parents who are here and we're here, we collected a total of 521 bags. On November 9th, we collected 521 bags. All the food that was collected here in Trenton all went to the City of Trenton Emergency Food Pantry, located at St. Philip's Lutheran Church on 4th Street here in Trenton. I'm very happy to say that when the scouts arrived to the food pantry to drop off their food, they were greeted by some outstanding Trenton High School students, led by Chad Clemens and Bruce Jocks, and also the food pantry staff. There, the scouts dropped off the food, and high school students from the Rotary Interact Club sorted out the food with the food pantry staff in their proper places there at the food pantry. On behalf of the Boy Scouts of America here in the City of Trenton and myself, we would like to say thank you to the residents of the City of Trenton who were able to participate in this project, who did receive a bag at their home. If there was a bag that was dropped off at their home, and if they were not able to fill it, or by chance if it wasn't picked up, no problem, they can always take that bag of food to the City of Trenton Emergency Food Pantry, and also St. Timothy's Church, which was the first site of the Trenton Food Pantry. They still have their food pantry box in the lobby of their church. They can always drop off that their bag in their food pantry box there. I also would like to say that this was also a 3-county-wide project throughout Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County, and I understood that it went very well. I did not receive a count of how many pounds of food we collected throughout the 3 counties. I have not yet received that count from the Great Lakes Field Service Council office yet. That completes our food drive, and I want to say thank you to the parents of these scouts who are here tonight, and some who are still here, and some who cannot make it. I want to say thank you to the parents for going out with these scouts with their vehicles, helping these boys collect these 521 bags. Without their help, we would not been able to serve Trenton, to help our residents that are in need of food. That takes care of the Scouting for Food drive for this year. My second and last item here tonight pertaining to scouting, Mayor, is that I'd like to say thank you to you as the unit commissioner for scouting here in Trenton. I know you invited the scout units to come here to your council meeting to be part of the swearing-in ceremony of your city council members. I'd like to say thank you very much to your council for doing that. And it's something that scouts will always remember. I also want to say thank you for your outstanding city presentation that you made here tonight to Alex Earn and to Zachary Blow. Earning the rank of Eagle Scout is an outstanding thing, and this is something that these boys will carry with them forever, and I know their parents who are here tonight are very proud of them. And we'd like to thank you for all your interest in scouting that your council, your administration has had here in Trenton for many, many years. Scouting is over 95 years old here in the City of Trenton, and it will continue on further than that.
Oh, very good.
And then finally, I'd like to say to Mr. Long, thank you very much on behalf of the Boy Scouts of America community here in the City of Trenton. Thank you for your outstanding service that you gave to the City of Trenton these years. And we also like to welcome Mrs. Wendy Pat to the City Council. We wish you the very best in your seat as council.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and may you all have a very happy, safe, on behalf of the Boy Scouts of America here in the City of Trenton, may you all have a very happy, safe, enjoyable Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday coming up.
Thank you. And the one thing I want to say about our Boy Scouts, that, in regards to it, is that they've always been active in our community. I mean, they've been there for all of us. So I just want to thank all of you for being here. We can't do it without you. I know you've helped me out on different occasions with the Goodfellow Drive. I've had Boy Scouts there at different times. I've had them, some of the events that we have, and we really thank you for all you've done. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
And the parents too. I mean, they're involved too, so it's good. Anyone else like to talk to the council?
Go ahead.
All right. Hi, my name is Rachel Judd. I live at 3439 Marguerite. Most of you are aware my son was hit by a car on his way home from school a few months ago. I'm just here to keep it relevant right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do to make things safer. Parents in that neighborhood have reached out to me and told me that even with the signs posted, rules aren't followed, people aren't stopping at the stop sign, the congestion is just, it's insane. I guess I should start off with saying, first of all, thank you to the police, the fire, the EMS for quick response to my son's needs and helping support us through everything. And the last thing I would like to do is read a letter from a 6th grader who witnessed the accident, just so you guys understand that this was a very serious accident. It could have been much worse. We thank our stars every day that our son walked away from this. So this was a 6th grade little girl who watched the accident at the school. She says, "Dear Mayor Kyle Stack, I go to Arthur's Middle School, and today I watched something nobody should have to see. I watched everything from before he was hit up to when he was taken away by an ambulance. I don't think anybody in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, or anybody ever, should have to have had watched him get hit. And though everybody hopes he will be okay, that's not always the case when somebody gets hit by a car. I don't think this would have happened if there was a crossing guard at the intersection. At that intersection of Longmeadow and Marion, many cars go through there during the school hours. I don't understand why there isn't a crossing guard at this intersection. Why shouldn't there be? Just down the road, there are crossing guards everywhere for elementary students, everywhere up to Longmeadow. If there was a crossing guard at this intersection, I believe students would be much safer. In fact, I don't believe this accident would have happened if we had a crossing guard. I've seen both students and drivers make careless mistakes when navigating through this intersection, and this being my only my 7th week at Arthur's, I am concerned that I am already worrying about the safety at this intersection. I've seen this be a dangerous intersection in front of me. I have also seen times when groups of kids had been crossing and hadn't been seen. Though everybody who was at the accident and saw it will probably be forever impacted by this traumatizing event, I hope more safety precautions will be taken at this intersection. That's signed Ella, a 6th grader at Arthur's Middle School.
I did receive that. So they were in discussions with the school to see what, they might want to choose to do. So I have, okay, go ahead.
It's probably a good time for me to say something else.
Okay.
So, it was a very serious incident. Luckily, we had video because nobody really knew what had happened. And the initial statements were not true on what had happened. We had video of the incident. I want to say this because this has been on my mind a lot. I had 2 children go through the Trenton Public Schools, and dropping off children at Port Arthur's is a nightmare. The parents that are dropping their kids off really need to take a second and think, because they act like idiots. And I'll just say that frankly. I've seen it for years. I've seen they ignore signs, they don't ignore everything over there and just think it's their turn to be first, that nobody can wait in line. And then at the end of the day, everybody's in a hurry. The sentiment from the 6-year-old or 6th grader is great, and I agree. We'd love to have the money and resources to have crossing guards everywhere. In this situation, the individual probably would have killed the crossing guard. It's that egregious what this person did. We need to get a hold on what we're doing around these schools in our vehicles. It's not about the hurry and get my kid first and get my kid home. I mean, these are all our kids. And I just, for the life of me, I can't understand. I've seen it for years. And then when we go to enforce it, they want to argue with us. It really is something. Probably those people probably aren't listening at home right now. They probably aren't. They're probably not watching this meeting. But I feel, I've been wanting to say that for the longest time. It is it is ludicrous to see what happens at the schools, including the elementary schools. We had to put, at the high school, we had to put a sign up so people wouldn't run kids over in the crosswalk, crossing West Road. I mean, if you think about how crazy that is. So, that's all. Get that off my chest.
Councilman Benedetti?
Thank you.
Steve, I have to agree with you. Been out of the school system for a while, and now I'm back in it with my grandson. I don't know what it is, but do people think, well, it's me, I got to get there, I got to get to work, I got to get to what? Wherever they're going, nothing's that important. And you're right, they're probably not watching the meeting. But the thing is I will say this, at Headkey, I've had parents stop people and yell at them. And rightfully so, because it could be their kid. So I think we need to look at that more. I credit your department, because I can say every day I take him to school, 2 or 3 of your officers are in that neighborhood, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure they're doing the same thing, because the middle school starts a little earlier, I believe, right? So they probably just move from one to the other. But I want to thank your department for doing that. But you're right, we have to get the parents involved. I don't know if the school needs to get involved and get some of their staff out there to start talking to these parents when they're dropping them off the wrong way, or what we need to do. But it needs to be looked at, because there are issues with it. I watch it at Headkey, and I'm sure it's the same thing at Anderson. Mm-hmm. But you're right, we need to figure out how to fix it. And the school needs to get involved. You know, we cover the crossing guards, we cover their supplies, we cover everything to get the kids to and from school. They stopped the busing system, not us. They did. So they need to fix the problem they caused with not having buses to get these kids to school.
Thank you. I am working also with the school board on this issue. I've gone to the meeting. I did feel that it was kind of brushed aside. Superintendent Wakeham didn't even want to speak to me before, during, after, and I've been going back and forth with him on the busing issue for about a year now. Mm-hmm. So
you're just right outside of the busing. Your son is right outside the busing.
We are, okay. And there's a lot of kids in our neighborhood that have gone through with petitions and gone in front of the school board years before me. There's other kids in the same situation. There's other kids in different situations where it's a one-car family, and somebody has to work. So
sure.
It's a scary situation, and I walked it myself from my front door to the front of Arthur's. That's a 35-minute walk on a clear, beautiful day, and I walked briskly. I mean, imagine a kid at 7:30 in the morning,
especially
snow on the ground.
Dark out now.
Absolutely. So yeah, I appreciate you guys taking this seriously.
I don't know where we're at with the school board, but we'll, engage with them to make sure. I know since they have, we've got this school of choice, there's more kids that are being dropped off because they're not in the community anymore.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that have added to the problem, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I will check with our director and our police chief and see if we can, what's been going on with that. You attended their meeting though, right?
I did last week. I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Todd?
Yeah, let me talk real quick.
Okay. Chief Shuffler?
Hi, Council, Mayor and Council. Just to let you know, Lieutenant Tangway and myself, Mr. Wakeham met, it was last week, to discuss not only Arthur's Middle School, but some of the other schools and the issues with the busing and the crosswalks and such. We had to explain to them that as far as the busing goes, it's a school issue, it's not a police issue. We can't do or say anything to do with that. We came to some agreements on getting more signage and looking for funding to, whether it be lighted stop signs or different collapsible things to slow cars down, which in our experience we've determined has slowed cars down, coming and going at the drop-off points at the elementary schools, maybe implement that at the middle school, just to try and slow these cars down. The director is correct. I've worked here for quite a long time myself, and to watch the drop-off procedure at the elementary schools makes me sick to my stomach.
Maybe we should film some of that so that we can show the parents and.
The officers are not harsh when they're there. They're not dropping tickets on people. they're there for the safety of everyone around. They're not there to drop, traffic tickets on everybody. But the fact that people stop in the middle of the street and let their kid out, it's unconscionable, because if somebody lets their foot off the brake and runs a kid over, there's no excuse for mistake. Going forward, last week I did put a directive out to our officers to use, what's the correct word here? Provide enhanced enforcement around the middle school, because it's necessary at this time. We had a second complaint after her son had been struck by a vehicle, that another kid had nearly been struck. And
Was that at the same school?
At Arthur School. And that staff had been out in the parking lots, and the parents aren't listening. And the comments made to the school staff, I'm not going to repeat here, but it's, it doesn't make any sense. They're out there for the safety of the kids. I implore anybody that's got kids at the schools, or any of the schools, or driving around the schools, first of all, avoid the schools if you're not dropping a kid off. If you can drop a kid off a block away, do so. Stop with the congestion. If your kid's injured, obviously they can be let out the front doors. If they're not, it doesn't hurt them to walk a block or two. That's my personal opinion, but I wanted to share with you that we did meet with the schools. We're working on finding some funding to implement some things that we think will help, and we'll continue working with them to try and help out with this problem. But it is a problem, and it's especially the elementary schools and the middle school. So,
Councilman LaFever, did you have something?
I just want to make, I'm glad your child is doing good, but did they break the law, or they did break the law?
Yes.
And what happened to that person?
yes,
They got a violation?
the person was found at fault for the accident, absolutely.
They go to court, or is it just done?
No, it's not been. Steve, has it been to?
He was charged with vehicular accident causing bodily injury, so
Okay.
Drove through a stop sign, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that hasn't been said.
What's that?
Yeah,
He drove through a stop sign.
So, I think that, going back to the director's assertion, that
I
we would
think
have had a crossing guard killed probably in this instance, is somebody drove through a stop sign. That's what caused the accident.
Okay. All righty.
Had a quick suggestion.
Councilwoman Pate?
Just doing some brainstorming, but if the TEF just raised quite a bit of funding, that perhaps there could be some funding from that source that could provide for signage or training. I realize that my kids have gone through all three levels of the schools. Anderson Elementary does a really good job of having the principal out. I know the teachers aren't required to be outside, but the principal is outside, and they are almost training the parents on how to do the drop-off. There's a constant communication with parents, getting emails or flyers sent home about how to drop a kid off and how to pick them up, and they've implemented different systems along the way, and we've been sort of trained each time. And I feel that when my students went to Arthur's, that because it's kind of sandwiched inside the subdivision, that there's, not really a good in and out process there. But it's almost like, oh, they're at Arthur's and all that training has gone away. They're big kids now, but apparently they are not. So maybe there's something the TEF can do to look into some training for parents or mailings, or I know that money is supposed to go for grants in the classroom, but if the kids can't get to the classroom and feel safe, that, it could just be it's just a brainstorm idea right now that I just
Very good.
hit me. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about your son.
Thank you.
So as it stands right now, we'll work with the schools. I mean, if we have anything we can do for the schools. The other thing, I was wondering why they didn't put out like a flyer to the parents, because that's how the kids all take those home,
Yeah.
So I'm just
Nothing.
wondering why they don't take those things home and let them, put something together written, so.
Yeah, I would like to say Principal Menser handled his situation at Anderson Elementary with absolute perfection. I mean, he stated what the problem was, he stated why the problem was, he stated how they were going to fix it. I haven't heard anything from the school district about my son's accident. They've hardly even acknowledged it to me, so.
Well,
It's not against our schools, it's
no,
just,
yeah. Not a problem, but I know that we we employ the crossing guards, so
Yeah.
this is another outlet for you, so.
That's why I came.
But I
Yes.
appreciate it, and I'm glad your son's doing well, so.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I can tell you anything at this point, because I don't know if we've got anything more that we're working with them.
Right.
I know that Officer Tangway was actually working on some of those, things that can be put at the stop signs and stuff, because he asked me about different corporations that I can get a hold of. So I know that there's things in the works. Hopefully, we'll be able to get those. They're not the cheapest things, I will let you know. So-
Right. That's good to hear.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you coming down, though.
Thank you for your
I really do.
time.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to talk to the council?
Hello, good evening. My name is Judy Maiga, M-A-I-G-A. I'm actually a Groseal resident. I'm here today. I've lived downriver my entire life. I lived 25 years in Wyandotte. I just moved to Groseal a couple of years ago. I'm here sharing with you the voice and opinion of a total of, as of right now, 950 people who signed an online petition that I started about 3.5 weeks ago against an intermodal shipping port at the old McLeod Steel location. I fully understand that it is privately owned now. I fully understand that there are only certain things that the city of Trenton and cities of Trenton and Riverview can do, but I want to let you know how strongly a lot of people feel about this. I'm not sure how aware the public is that that might be what's going in there, but when people find that out, they're not happy. I realize something has to go in there. I know that as officials, you need a tax base in the city, and that is a concern, and then there's an agreement with the state. I've been to all the EPA meetings. I've read everything that I can possibly read on the subject. I will email you a copy of the petition along with the signatures. I will also email you, as you may be aware, Township of Groseal and the City of Riverview have passed resolutions against anything that's similar to an intermodal shipping port at that site. The increased 150 to 200 trucks a day, I can't even imagine. The nightmare that happened last week with the bridge, and that is a giant unknown right now, what's going to happen with the county bridge. It could be shut down, that we don't even know. And we know that it needs long-term repairs that are going to shut it down for months or even a year. So if that was to happen, and there was an intermodal shipping port there that was having additional train and truck and ship traffic, my main concern is it's a giant safety issue for the 10 to 15,000, I've seen different estimates, people that live there. There is no way to get to a hospital. If the Pay Bridge is swung open to let a big ship in for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and the county bridge is closed down, how does somebody that's having a heart attack get to the hospital? What's the plan? Is Crown going to build a hospital on Groseal? Are they going to provide helicopters to fly people back and forth? Because that is the reality of what we are facing, along with the increased pollution from the trucks idling to pick up the things from the ships that have unloaded, the unsightliness of the containers, the lowering of values of businesses and homes in the area. If you drive up I-75 and look towards Detroit on the right-hand side and see what life next to a shipping port looks like, it's not pretty. And that's not what people bought homes in the area of Trenton. North Trenton's having problems now because the bridge is closed. That there's nowhere for that truck traffic to come except down King Road and Sibley Road. So it would add a horrendous impact to the downriver area. We can do so much better. Everyone's glad that it's finally getting cleaned up, but we deserve better downriver. We don't have to be the where everything gets dumped. Oh, downriver, they're into manufacturing. Manufacturing's fine, but let's do it in the most sustainable way possible, and let's also preserve and protect that area now that it's finally being cleaned up. I created a Facebook group called Preserve and Protect Downriver that people can go to and like the page and they can sign a copy of this petition. They can keep updated on things like the CAG meetings from the EPA. I'm going to be putting things on there like that. Just a couple of the comments from people that signed the petition. This type of redevelopment will have a huge negative impact on our roads, air, water, and land that in turn will reduce home values in the region. It also creates a safety hazard with frequent bridge closures and heavy truck and freight train traffic. No one wants to live near a shipping port. There's hundreds of comments on the petition, and for people that say, well, there's nothing you can do now, it's already been bought, I'd like to, I came across a story about Baltimore had a shipping port that was going to go in their location, and after vocal opposition from residents and diminishing political will, they canceled the whole project. The state had committed $30 million to the port, and CSX was kicking in another $56 million to build it. And the public said, no, this is not what we want. We don't want to live by this. And eventually they canceled the project. There's other things that can go there. That's all I'm asking, is that the city and the zoning commission use the power that they have to try to protect all of downriver, all of this area. There's fishermen who you know, can finally fish clean waters in that area. I don't know what the plans are for a environmental impact study that will be done after the cleanup on if they decide to put an intermodal shipping port in, what environmental impact will that have on us? Are they going to be required to do a study first so that we can determine exactly how bad it's going to be? Or are they just going to be given free will to do whatever they want? So these are things that I'm concerned about. At least 950 other people are concerned. I'm quite sure that as the petition spreads, we'll just gain more signatures. I appreciate all you've done. I know it's not an easy subject to tackle, but I just want to share with you some of the very, very real concerns of a lot of people. So I appreciate your...
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone from the public? If not, I look for adjournment.
Support.
We adjourn at 8:30.
Let's go. Yeah, I'll leave on December.